Could the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles get even better and add all-pro edge rusher Myles Garrett this offseason? I know there's been chatter about it online, but one, is it realistic? And two, if possible, should the Eagles pull the trigger on this move? Now let's start with, is it realistic? Is it possible that the Philadelphia Eagles could acquire Myles Garrett this offseason? There's a couple things that are going to go into this. As it currently stands, the Eagles don't have enough cap room to acquire Myles Garrett without giving up some substantial value back in terms of a contract to the Cleveland Browns. I believe there's somewhere in the realm of, it's kind of changing around, but somewhere around the 18-ish million in cap space is what Philly currently has as of this time of recording. Now, there's several different pathways that the Eagles, I believe, could go up to freeing the cap space to bring in a Myles Garrett. James Bradberry is a pretty common cut candidate for the Eagles per all reports, right? James Bradberry didn't play for the Eagles much this year, and they could save $7 million by cutting him. This is a very, very likely move. Darius Slay, last year of his deal, there's a lot of talk about this. Big play Slay, love him, the Eagles love him. Great guy, obviously was a strong corner presence, not just for the play that he put on the field, but as a leader for guys like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and Isaiah Rodgers to an extent. They could move off of him. If they cut him, it'd be saving $12 million. They could as well trade him in the last year of his deal, and I think potentially save somewhere around $18 million at that rate. They as well can trade or move off of Bryce Huff in a potential deal that could see them getting Myles Garrett. If you're the Browns and you're moving off of Myles Garrett, you could bring in Bryce Huff, a younger guy that's under contract. My point being, there's a couple different avenues here that Philadelphia can go and actually make a move to get Myles Garrett. The money can work itself out. It truthfully can. If you were to go there, they would extend him, how he would backload the contract because the new CBA, that's, or the new Players Association with the TV deals, etc., that's coming up in like 2028, 2029, I think it's going to boom the salary cap. And I think smart GMs are going to see that, and you're going to see a lot of backloaded contracts for, the 29, 30 season that you're going to go, we're putting how much money there? But I think the smart GMs know what they're doing in that stint. As well, I don't think it's impossible for the Eagles to make a move for Myles Garrett and retain Zach Bond, because I do think Bond, strangely enough, will be a higher priority than Myles Garrett. Obviously, if you can get Myles Garrett, you kind of sell the farm for this guy. This is an all-pro, game-wrecking havoc player. But Philly has shown an ability to continuously develop defensive line players, have a strong D-line presence. You have guys like Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt. It's a pretty good defensive end class. The team has not shown an ability to develop linebackers. Zach Bond is an all-pro linebacker. I don't think his contract is going to be as rich as people think it is. He's going to be 29 next year. The guy's not going to get this massive Fred Warner-esque deal. It's just not going to happen. 3 years, $32 million. That's probably where Bond's looking at in this market. Linebackers don't get paid heavy. He is coming up on 30 and realistically has one really strong year of production. But before that in his career, it wasn't that strong. So I think Philly can do both. The question of, should the Eagles get Myles Garrett? Should the Eagles be willing to give up multiple first-round picks, Bryce Huff's contract, move on from Darius Slay? If all of those steps were needed to be taken, should they be willing to do it? This is a team that's coming off of a Super Bowl, who had a pretty good pass rush, has a good defensive line, has some really strong players on that D-line already. It's by no means a weakness of the team. Should they be willing to invest a ton of draft capital, move off of, a player like Darius Slay, who was massively impactful, and go all in on Myles Garrett? To me, this is a no-brainer yes. Myles Garrett is one of two, maybe three real game wreckers on the defensive side of the ball. He's a top 2 defensive player in the league. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler, a 4-time All-Pro, won the Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago, is coming off of a 14-sack, 3 forced fumble season. The guy's an absolute stud. And would be the Eagles' best defensive end, talent-wise, since Reggie White? Is that crazy to say? I don't think so. And what did the Super Bowl show you? You win with a pass rush. The offense for the Eagles is already strong and it's already locked up for the next 2 years. And that's everybody. Hurts, AJ, Smitty, Saquon, they're all locked up. So you know that offense can win with a strong defensive presence. On the defense, you have a lot of guys on some cheaper contracts right now. Jalen Carter's on a rookie deal. Nolan Smith's on a rookie deal. Jordan Davis on a rookie deal. Those guys ought to be signed a little bit sooner. But at corner, Quinion, rookie deal. Cooper DeJean, rookie deal for the next 3 years. You could bring back Isaiah Rodgers on a cheap-ish deal. Nakobe Dean's on a rookie deal. Go all in. Even if eventually there has to be some kind of casualties in 3 to 4 years, you just won the Super Bowl. You could become a dynasty with this move. You could be the first team to three-peat if you brought in a Myles Garrett. You have to, for yourself, your franchise, your fans. If Myles Garrett is available to the Philadelphia Eagles, they absolutely need to pull the trigger on that move. It's something we're going to be monitoring because I think the Eagles are one of a few teams that have this ability because, they can sacrifice a ton of draft capital because over the last 4 years, it's been all hits from Howie. Whereas some other teams that have had some hits and misses in there can't really afford to go all in on one player because they need to fill out a roster. The Eagles roster is filled out. And you could lose a couple years of draft capital and lose a player like Bryce Huff and move on from a Darius Slay to an Isaiah Rodgers, which they had to do at certain points in the season. And adding in a Myles Garrett, I don't think you skip a beat. I don't. I think you get better. You talk about how the Eagles generated a pass rush with 4 in the Super Bowl. They'd be able to do that at a way more consistent, way higher clip with Myles Garrett. And for Garrett, this is a no-brainer. Said he wants to compete for Super Bowls. Team just won one. They're going to be in a winning spot. So for me, this rumor has some legs to it, especially with the new salary cap that it will be here before you know it. Myles Garrett wants to play for a winner. Howie Roseman's been an aggressive GM. I say, let's get it done. If you love the Philadelphia Eagles, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Catch you next time. Peace.